Ironically, conversations around single parenting are almost always centered around women. Very rarely are the experiences of men who are raising children alone called into question or discussed. In fact, when you hear about men who are single parents, they're often hailed as heroes. However, when you talk about women who are single parents, especially if the woman is Black, they are criticized often. Their life choices are called into question, and sometimes they're downright demonized. And so I find that distinction between how society views Black single mothers and how some in society, I shouldn't say all, view men who are raising children alone, I find that kind of interesting. Hi, everyone. This is the PR Whisperer, and I'm a public relations coach. And on this page, I offer commentary from the lenses of faith and then also PR. So in today's conversation, I want to focus on the stigma associated with raising with Black women who are single mothers. Now, the intensity of strife towards Black women online, it just baffles me. Or let me say this another way. The intensity of strife towards Black women who are single mothers baffles me. Now, generally speaking, Black women and women of color tend to experience more online abuse than other demographics, right? I know that. However, when I see certain segments of social media that are that go out of their way to be cruel, to be hateful towards Black women, it still puts me on my heels and it still shocks me. Again, ironically, when you talk about single parenting and when you talk about or when you think about the way that men are characterized when they are single parents and the way that women and Black women are characterized when they are single parents, there is a huge gulf. I think that Black women experience so much negativity if they are single parents that it can be tempting to feel like you have to overperform or outperform or push your children to the max just to prove everyone else wrong. And I think that that can be harmful for the child as well as the parent. I feel like there are so many different life situations that invite us to grow, that invite us to think, and that invite us to change. And I feel like when you attempt to raise children and you are unmarried, you may need to constantly do work because you are swimming in this sea of negativity toward one aspect of your identity. So many times when I hear people speak disparagingly about single parents, they focus on that one aspect of that person's identity and they paint that person with a broad brush. And sometimes that brush is unfair. I also believe that because of all the negativity targeted towards Black women who are single mothers, Black women can feel like they don't have a right to ask for help. But the truth of the matter is we were not meant to walk alone. We were not meant to parent alone, even if we are unmarried. It is beneficial to be a part and to be inside of a safe community, a community that sees you, that loves you, that can support you and your children, and that can also push you towards whatever your destiny is meant to be. So again, I guess I'll close with this. If you're a Black woman in the United States and you are seeing a lot of content online, questioning who you are, questioning your life decisions, questioning your worth or your value, I really think that you have to guard your heart. I will admit, when I heard the scripture years ago about guarding the heart, I did not associate it with online content. I thought about guarding my heart from the standpoint of the types of conversations that I engaged in, what I watched on TV, and possibly even the relationships that I chose to engage. But now, in 2024, when I think about guarding my heart, it's also about the types of content that I consume on social media, because there's so much negativity. And if we are not careful, we will view ourselves by how other people view us. And when I think about this content online, particularly the content that is very hateful towards Black single mothers, I ask myself a couple things. Is it that the people who are spewing this content are seeking to profit from stoking that sentiment? Or is it that they have so much hatred towards their own single parent that they are making everyone else pay? Or are they just a sick individual? Because you can have a critique around how people live your life, how people live their lives. But for you to go out of your way to express it when it wasn't solicited And for you to go out of your way to paint these harmful narratives, I really question that, and I question the motives. The other thing that I want to note is that when people go out of their way to paint Black single mothers in a negative light, I wonder if they realize that they are giving cover to policies that could harm all of us. And so one example is I think about the child care crisis in the United States. In many states, K through 12 is decently funded, but there is not enough intentionality around investments in early childhood education. So from birth to kindergarten. And what happens if early childhood education is not properly funded? Well, our economy cannot work the way that it should if people can't get to work. And people can't get to work if they don't have safe, affordable, and accessible places to send their children while they work. Places where their children will be stimulated and developed and put on a path to academic success. But if the notion is that these mothers are bad, or these mothers are going out and having all these children, politicians are going to be less likely to help if they see it as an individual responsibility versus a collective responsibility. And educating children in the United States should be a collective responsibility. So that's what I mean when I say that the people who spew hatred, I don't know if they appreciate the ways in which their hatred gives cover to policies that could come back and bite us all. So thank you for listening. If you've not already subscribed, please be sure to do that. And let me finally say that if you're a single parent and you live in the United States and you happen to be a Black woman, I really believe that you have to guard your heart and your psyche. But I also believe that you have to take how you see yourself directly from Scripture. Regardless of the mistakes that we make, and I'm not saying that having a child is a mistake, but I'm speaking broadly. Regardless of the mistakes that we make, I don't hear God speak to us in a way that is hateful. Now, there is accountability, there are consequences, but even when we are living out our consequences or when we are accountable for the decisions that we make, I still don't view God as a hateful God who is sitting on high and telling us how terrible we are. And if we get that message from content creators, we have to know that that is not of God. And anything that would discourage versus push us forward, we have to question. So again, thanks for listening. Take care.